Simmons. There's the biggest. What?
What was that? What was that? What was that? Bro turned into the Hobbit. Said, what happened? Recording in progress. Yo, chill.
Just relax, bro. It doesn't need to be more than it was. All right. It's a thing. It happened, and we move on.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Say Less Basketball Podcast. You're currently listening to episode 49. Yeah, we're in the 49 here, but the trade deadline was this week. A lot of stuff went down. So we're going to talk about all the trades that went down, even the big ones and the small ones. Some of the small ones are really impactful as well. So thanks for joining us this week. You know, Adrian Wojnarowski, our close source, inside man for the NBA, everything that happens on the NBA was going crazy this week. But the main trades that happened are, so the Portland Trail Blazers recently had one with the New Orleans Pelicans, and they had serious discussions on a trade centered on guard CJ McCollum. So they traded CJ, which is one of the veterans that they wanted. And then they also got rid of Larry Nance and Tony Snell for, I think it was Josh Hart, Tomas Satoransky, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Didi Luzita, a future first-round pick, and a future second-round pick to the Blazers. So this is a massive package by the Pelicans to get their veteran that they think that they needed to, you know, kind of center Brandon Ingram and Zion when he might eventually come back. If that's still, you know, up to debate, you know, we don't really know the timetable on Zion or what his mindset is specifically, but there's been rumors, you know, that he wants to leave and stuff like that. So there's that as well. Do you guys think this is a good move by the Pelicans? Do you guys think that, you know, giving up all these packages for CJ is going to lead to a championship or championship contending or playoff contending, something like that? What do you think?
I mean, I didn't mind it. I thought it was a decent trade. McCollum's obviously, on the Pelicans side, it's good for them to have a veteran playmaker, for him to come in, for guys like Zion and B.I., Jackson Hayes, you know, those young guys to have somebody to, you know, kind of not looked up to, but, you know.
No, it's okay.
But for Portland, I understand because apparently they are cleaning house. They want to revamp the team around Dame. And we talked about it before, how Dame and CJ are basically the same type of player. Small guards, playmakers, can create their own shot, not really good defenders. So you had two guys playing two different positions, but kind of the same player. So I kind of understand it. I mean, it was sad to see them break up. Obviously, they have a good friendship. They had played 8 years together. So, but it was a good trade for both sides. The only problem I have with it is I don't get why the Blazers traded Alexander Walker. I felt he'd been really good. He's a young guy. Obviously, he wasn't as big piece in Portland because of, not Portland, New Orleans, because, you know, B.I. and Zion was there, but Portland could have used someone like him. So that's the only problem I have with the trade.
Yeah, facts. Yeah, Walker was definitely, I think Walker was my the most improved player pick this year, and he's been all right. Yeah, he's been pretty solid for him. So I feel like they could you're right. I think they could have developed him more. But obviously this is a deal for Portland where they're able to, you know, reshape the roster around Lillard now. So it's sad. It is sad to see the breakup with CJ because, man, they've been together forever. You know, definitely have some good chemistry and duos. One of the best chemistry duos. I don't know if they're one of the best duos in the NBA, but they're definitely one of the best friendships and chemistry. You know, like kind of like DeMar and look like DeMar and Lowry and, you know, Toronto. It's like that. You know, it's a big brotherhood that everyone knows. So, Will, your thoughts on the CJ McCollum, Josh Hart Pelicans trade?
Man, I remember when certain people were telling me that the Blazers were like an actual playoff threat, real title.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that.
Even just a legitimate team. God, you know what? There's a term I've been hearing a lot recently, and I would describe the Blazers by this term. The term is fraudulent,
Yeah.
as our great graphic designer Jack would say. Dude, so I for the Blazers, I think the trade is fine. I think I kind of agree with Mohammed. I don't really care personally about the trade at all. I'm not really sure because really it revolves around Zion, and I like Zion, but where he ends up, I don't know if I'd want him to stay in New Orleans, given how their management has kind of treated him and handled other players. But the Blazers are clearly going in full rebuild mode, so that's why they did this. I mean, Dame's next. I would imagine. Imagine Dame's going to get traded. You don't think?
No, they said they want to reshape the roster around Dame. So
That's interesting.
Yes, they have.
I thought they already have done that.
Just real quick. So now they have created a $21 million trade exception today last week, potentially $60 million in salary cap space this summer, multiple draft picks and assets via the Pelicans and the Clippers trade previously. And then the plan is to pursue high-end talent now, not retreat.
Interesting.
That's Woj on that one too. Yeah.
Okay. So then who do you guys think they have an actual chance of getting? Because James Harden's a free agent this year, but didn't he pick up his option? That was part of the trade, so he's not a free agent anymore.
I don't know.
I saw a list a couple of days ago. There wasn't anybody big. It's like they're restricted, or they're like they're gonna opt into because they're gonna have a bunch of money. It's not opt in. So
theoretically, I guess you could go for Westbrook, but does Westbrook and Dame really make any sense?
Nope.
No.
Yeah.
I was thinking, I was like, okay, if that's their plan, this is going to be all on Dame's shoulders, because he's going to be the only reason that someone would want to come to Portland, because the state of Oregon's not going to be
appealing.
People are going to look at their management. It's not going to be something people are going to look at. The only thing they're going to look at is Dame Lillard. So if he really wants the help that he needs, he's going to have to be recruiting heavy. And maybe that's going to require talking guys out of, maybe you can get somebody like a quiet Paul George, like how quiet asked Paul George to request a trade out of OKC. They might have to do that with somebody. So they have a lot of cap space, and that's part one. Part two is using that, like Zach said, to get this high-end talent, but that's gonna be on Dame's shoulders.
They could get. I think Bradley Beal would be a good fit for Dame. I don't remember. Isn't Bradley he's in his contract here, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so he would be an option, but it is gonna ride on Dame, because now, like, he wanted this. He's like, I want to stay with Port. He said it multiple times. He's kind of gone back on it sometimes, I think, but now it is all about him. He's shown he can deliver. I still personally don't think he delivers too much in the playoffs, like in key series, but that's an argument for a different day. But it is going to ride on him recruiting people. All-Star weekend, man. Maybe something happens or next weekend, whatever. No, I don't know. Right. As for the Pelicans, the trade is good for them too. I don't think it's bad. They lose some defense by losing Josh Hart, because CJ isn't exactly a defensive piece. But it's pretty much revolving around Zion's health, which we've talked about many times. This man, I think they were getting, I saw like some stat that they were looking at, like players who have played like X amount of years, like 2 years or whatever he's played. 2 years has he played, really? But that have like played this little games and had this many injuries, like their careers usually don't end up going anywhere. They usually don't actually even get started. So, which is sad to see. Hopefully that's not the case with him. But if they could get Zion, Brandon Ingram, and CJ, that's an offensive trio right there. Might be defense. Which Zion's a good defender, but he's so undersized. I don't know. I don't think it makes them good enough to do anything, especially without Zion. With the roster the way it is.
I think they're just aiming for a play-in spot, because they're pretty close to, I think, the 9th or 10th seed. So
yeah, they're probably just like, hey, if we even make the play-in this year or the playoffs, that's a win. especially if Zion's not there. But I mean, the Pelicans are going to have some real issues to deal with him. That's where.
Yeah, he's a key to
yeah.
everything.
If they can keep Zion, then you can evaluate this trade. But until that it's hard to say, because if they don't keep Zion, then they're just gonna be a 10th seed, as always. I mean, they're not gonna do anything.
Yeah, I'm honestly surprised they made a big trade like this, considering the Zion thing is really up in the air. They really don't know.
I didn't hear anything about this. Did you guys know this was coming?
I saw one report like 3 days before it happened, just said that Pelicans are really serious about trading for CJ. I was like, okay.
Yeah, there was a lot of developments like the day of.
Yeah.
The Harden thing. The Harden thing came up that he wanted to request a trade, but he didn't want to formally request one, because that would. He was afraid of the backlash. I think that was like the day of the trade deadline that it happened. So it was like bang, 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 and then he was just gone. So there's a lot of bang, bang things this trade deadline for sure. But the next big trade that a lot of people are criticizing the Kings for. The Kings are obviously one of the organizations in the NBA that a lot of people think are poorly managed. We just talked about the Pelicans management, but the Kings management is something else. So the Pacers are trading Domantas Sabonis, Jeremy Lamb, and
this is such a bad trade.
And who's this? Justin Holiday, I think. Yes, to the Pacers are trading, Sabonis, Lamb, and Holiday to Sacramento for Tyrese Halliburton, Buddy Hield, and Tristan Thompson. So
Kings also traded a pick.
And the pick, yes.
Totally relevant.
Yes. Your thoughts, gentlemen? Do you think, obviously this is a move by the Kings probably to make the play-in game or something like that, because they got an all-star in Sabonis, but they traded away Tyrese Halliburton, who's arguably the best player on their team, and Buddy Hield, who's one of the best three-point shooters in the world.
All right, hold up right there. All right. Tyrese Halliburton is good, but he is not De'Aaron Fox. I'm sorry. He's just not. And I understand. I can make the argument he's the best young star in the league. Well, that's still kind of a bit generous, but he's
getting up there, man.
I saw a stat from JJ Redick on the Old Man and the Three, his podcast, that
I can't listen to JJ.
The players who are 21 years old and are averaging 14 points and like 7 assists are shooting 50% from the field in NBA history, and it was just Tyrese.
Yeah, no, he's a really good young piece. I think that's why the Pacers made this trade. I mean, it's obvious why they made the trade.
Great trade.
This was a great trade for the Pacers. Domantas, I feel bad for him because his career is basically over now for however long his contract is with the Kings, unless he can force his way out. Because it sucks, because the Kings have had so many great pieces in recent years. They don't run it's like watching a screechy car, when you're driving your car and your brake pads are a little low, and you just, every time you brake, you hear that.
Yeah.
That's what the Kings are, bro. They're always so close to doing something, but they never quite get there. This is a terrible trade for the Kings, as far as I'm concerned. Tristan Thompson, for what it's worth, is a hustle player. He's not going to replace Sabonis, but in terms of some of the effort, some of the rebounds, definitely not offensively, but he's something. But they're going to get the offense from Halliburton and Buddy Hield. I honestly don't know. I don't know sometimes I wonder if the Kings owner is or GM is competent.
Clearly not.
What's his name again? Is Vladdy or whatever.
I know the owner's some his last name's Khan or something like that.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know.
Look at us.
Man, the Kings though, yeah, the whole DeMarcus Cousins thing from the past, and then as soon as they get rid of Boogie, they draft De'Aaron Fox, who's finally a guard. I mean, it's just one thing after another with the Kings, man. I swear.
Monty McNair, that's their GM.
Oy.
Sounds like a
Monty McNair. Yeah, and then Vivek Rana DV. He's the owner. He's the guy that's crazy, I think.
Yeah,
That I'm thinking of. That dude's just off the rails, has no clue what he's doing.
I was so confused with this trade. I seen reports. I don't know if you guys remember, but like throughout the season, you saw that they want to get rid of Darren Fox and like, give the keys to Halliburton, so do the opposite of that. And Kings fans were mad and NBA fans were confused. And if you want to compare Fox to Halliburton, I mean, they're virtually the same player. I think maybe Fox is better offensively, and then Halliburton's probably a better playmaker. So they're both pretty young still. I mean, obviously Halliburton's second year, Fox is fourth, fifth year. But it just doesn't make sense to it. It really doesn't make sense. I guess if they want to offload both of them, I guess maybe it's same thing as Dame and CJ. It's the two players that kind of play the same position and play the same style. But for the Pacers, I mean, they got Halliburton, they got Duarte, if that's how you pronounce his name. They got Miles Turner still. Yeah. And they have a lot of young guys around them. I've watched them against the Bulls a couple of days ago. I've been watching them a couple of times this week. They have a lot of young guys that are pretty good.
Yeah.
So
Brogdon is injured. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brogdon's always injured.
Yeah.
Who?
Brogdon, yeah. Michael Brogdon is always injured.
Yeah, Brogdon. I forgot about him. Yeah.
Malcolm.
Once he comes back, he could be dope. I mean, now they got Healed too. Yeah, you're right.
Yep. They still have Rick Carlisle, so they're set up for the future for sure.
That's facts. Yeah.
Central Division, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Yes, 4 teams making the playoffs, bro. Pacers have a shot now, dude. What I don't understand is usually when you look at a trade, you can kind of at least kind of BS a way that it makes sense for both teams. I can't make sense of this because Sabonis, it'd be one thing if Sabonis was like a piece where we looked at him and you're like, hey, all right, Sabonis on the Pacers. Suddenly the Pacers are a great team. They're winning now. That's not the case. He's not there yet. Maybe he will be one day, but he's not like LeBron, Steph, KD, these elite level players where you put them on a team and they instantly become, better, way better. Right. He's not that guy yet. Maybe the pairing with Fox. I don't know. I really don't understand what the Kings are doing. Sometimes I wonder if they think it's a game within a game and they just want to. They're like oh God, I'll make a science reference, but they're like a mad scientist in the lab. Let me see what this mixture does and this and until it finally works. But the thing is, you said they wanted to move off De'Aaron Fox, right? And then stay with Tyrese. Problem with the Kings is they move off players so fast. They don't give instead of trying to make it work and like make Tyrese and De'Aaron Fox work, which maybe that wouldn't be a good idea. I don't know. But instead of trying to make it work, let's just give up and move on to one. Instead of having 2 great players, now we have 1 guaranteed, and then we have to figure out the rest of it. I don't know if they've been paying attention to the league ever, but usually the teams that win have more than just one guy and then a bunch of great players or a bunch of role players around them. I know that LeBron fans will make that argument that literally all of his teams are just him and then a bunch of role players, but I don't think that's very true usually.
Yeah.
But I mean, the way I look at it, they just chose between the two. I haven't watched a lot of Kings games this year, so I don't know how they play together on the court, but that's how I see it. They just chose one guard over the other. They got a multiple-time All-Star, and Sabonis is still pretty young. A lot of people are bashing Sabonis and thinking he's like some type of scrub. He's multiple. He's made the All-Star team multiple times, and he's only 24, 25. So it's like, they didn't get.
Yeah, so. And his growth spurt has been ridiculous. Like he started off at like here, and he like that out of nowhere. Facts. So no scrub, but I mean Justin Holiday. There's no way to twist this, bro. Justin Holiday and Jeremy Lamb maybe equal Tyrese Halliburton. I don't think so. Buddy Hield isn't Buddy Hield like the best 3-point shooter in terms of number of threes made like the past couple of years? Or no, it's not true. But
Probably some niche 3-point stuff.
Oh no, he's like the youngest player to hit every 3-point amount record or whatever, something like that. I don't know, but I just know he's like one of the better 3-point shooters in the league.
Right.
I mean, if you think Sabonis is worth all that because the other two guys are basically irrelevant. No offense to them. I like Jeremy Lamb. You know, he had a few good fantasy games last year for Jack. Jack was buffing him up.
Yeah, I had him last year too.
Everybody had him
like
for a game
last year.
Just a wait and see situation. We'll only know if this was a good trade in 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, that's facts. Yeah, need to wait for this one because there's a lot of talent
we know right now
to be developed. And we know right now.
The Kings are involved. We know. And that's enough information right there.
The Kings don't even need LeBron to come in and trade away all their young talent. They do it themselves.
They do. Exactly.
Well, the Kings get to draft Bronny and then they get LeBron.
Oh my
God. Bro, you know what would be hilarious?
And the GM looks like the best GM of the century.
Right.
You know what would be hilarious is if after this they trade away De'Aaron Fox. If that happens, I would just.
If they trade Sabonis or Fox in the next 3 years after this trade, I feel bad for Kings fans.
That's gonna
happen.
happen.
The Bulls front office is bad, and then I see stuff like this. I'm like, all right,
we're all right.
Yeah, we're good.
They're the Bears of basketball.
Paxton and Former weren't that bad.
What that bad?
They were. That's the bar. The bar is at the literal floor. That's where we're at.
All right, though. Next trade before we get to the James Harden one, obviously, is the Dallas Mavericks. Sorry, my garage door is opening. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but the Mavericks are trading Kristaps Porzingis and a protected second-round pick to the Washington Wizards in exchange for Spencer Dinwiddie and Bertans. So,
Sheesh.
Yeah, this is a.
Lord.
So Porzingis is finally gone from the Mavs, but I don't know. I don't know how great a value they got for him. Your thoughts on this? Do you think they got good enough value for Porzingis, or
not at all?
Yep,
did not make sense. This is probably worse than. Actually, not worse. Just in terms of leaving you really confused. This is up there with the Kings Pacers trade because
Facts.
I understand moving off of the unicorn, but what they got back for him is like you couldn't have done better than that. And Dinwiddie's not a bad player; it's just the fit. Like you either give Luka a big man that can space the floor, but if you're gonna trade for guards, at least get him some shooters. Dinwiddie doesn't shoot that much, and who was the other guy that they traded for?
Bertans.
Yeah, Bertans is shooting tribal from 3, but he's a 3-point shooter, so I guess he's gonna be decent. But Dinwiddie is like, why would you get another playmaker?
Yeah.
So I don't know what the Mavs are doing. If I were them, I would have got someone like a Kuzma. They would have probably not got Kuzma, but just at least like a shooter.
Oh, I'm reading. They're saying Dinwiddie. So Dallas can replace Porzingis with Bertans, which they can, not literally, but Bertans is a really good spot up shooter.
Yeah,
he hasn't had a good season, though, I think. Yeah,
Dinwiddie will probably play off ball or he'll come off the bench, and they're saying the super lineup will be Jalen Brunson, Bertans, Maxi Kleber, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Luka. Because the three of those guys can they're pretty versatile, which they are. But can Maxi play center?
I mean, he's like 6'9", 6'8", 6'10".
Yeah, I might be pushing it, but maybe.
I think that made room. I think they wanted to sign Dorian Finney-Smith to a deal because they did after the trade.
Yeah.
So I think they wanted to make room to sign him, and then they also wanted, I think, a third playmaker to take some of the stuff off Luka, but that's not going to make any sense in the playoffs because Luka's going to handle all the ball work and distributing in the playoffs. So I don't think this helps them really get past get over the hump in the playoffs that they've had, the recent years. So they got to make a move for a big man that is, consistently healthy and can score and rebound, but they didn't. So I don't know. It was really confusing because I was reading this trade and it was another guard, but they don't need another guard. Like they need a big man that can, stop the defense and get rebounds and score consistently and, shoot the three. But that was Porzingis, but Porzingis isn't healthy and he's just not putting up enough value and numbers to, show that.
All right.
I still wouldn't have done that.
It was weird. It was
I
definitely weird.
No.
Sure, but this was not the trade to make for that. If I had them, I would have just kept him and probably try to trade him in off season or something. But this is not a good trade to me.
This was a forced trade. This was like, hey, we're frantically trying to get rid of a player who doesn't want to be here.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason that you don't get a lot for Porzingis. It's like with Ben Simmons, although we'll get to that. If a player wants out, their trade value diminishes. It's not as high. I agree 1 million trillion quintillion % with getting rid of Porzingis. He had to go. I mean, this dude has been a major disappointment, but this is not the answer. I mean, like you said, if the point of your season or the trade or whatever is to make it so Luka doesn't have to play 45 minutes a game to have a shot to win, this doesn't help you. This doesn't do anything.
No.
Luka is still going to have to play 40 plus minutes just for you to have a chance to win a playoff series. I mean, you got some good spot up shooters, but you don't have the problem is you didn't get anybody that can create their own offense. I think Dinwiddie can, but he also just came off a torn ACL. He's still working his way back.
Yep.
I don't think he's played as great this year. In terms of the Wizards, this really hurt my fantasy team. So I was not very happy about it. The Wizards have a surplus of big men, a surplus. They have so many. I don't know what they're going to do with them.
Yeah,
but,
they do.
Question for you guys. Do you think this would be enough for Bradley Beal to want to run it back?
No, I don't think so.
I mean, he said he wanted to stay. He's been saying that
that
for a long time, but we all know that whatever comes out those mouths, it's not facts. So
if I'm Bradley Beal, I want up out of Washington. I'm leaving. Do you actually think you have a chance?
Maybe he wants to be the man, though. What if?
Yeah, well, if he wants to be the man, then okay, stay there. Because I mean, you're not going anywhere. But
But at the same time, you just had surgery, rip Will's fantasy team again.
Bro. The fourth year in a row that two of my top 4 picks have gotten injured for the entire year.
Yep.
Michael Porter Jr.
Yep.
And Bradley Beal now gone the whole year. And Bradley Beal mind you, has been injured most of the season.
Sorry to hear.
I'm done. I'm
sorry
done.
to hear.
Okay.
I'm like, that's tough.
Sorry to hear. What do you think you are?
What do you think you are? I am.
I am.
Yeah.
I'm sick of it.
If I'm looking at this Wizards trade though, they have way too big men. They have many big men. They have, what do they have now? They have
Bryant, Porzingis. Well, they got rid of Montrez.
Yeah.
They have Gafford, Daniel Gafford.
Gafford, Kuzma.
Kuzma, I guess, because he's pretty tall.
He plays the 4 sometimes.
And then who do they have? Who do they have for guards? I don't know.
Bradley Beal. No one. He's not there.
Holiday. They have that one Israeli rookie or second-year player or something like that. I forgot his name, but he's
They still have Rui Hachimura too.
They have Hachimura. And they have one of the Holiday brothers too.
Damn.
I'm really upset with Rui, but that's all right.
Yeah, they just have so much big men. I don't know what they're gonna do. Yeah, but this deal does not make sense again. But We're moving on to the next deal as well, which some people have said has made sense.
Let's look at their roster.
Oh boy, Will's cutting out here. You good, Will?
Hello?
Hello,
Yeah.
Will.
Uh-oh.
You're good.
Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, that's right.
Sorry.
Give me some time to style my hair.
Okay, but we're moving on to the Nets trade, though.
Okay.
All right. So obviously, this is the biggest one of the day on the trade deadline. It was announced that the Brooklyn Nets are trading James Harden to the Philadelphia Sixers for Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, and 2 first-round picks. The Nets also included Paul Millsap in the deal as well. This is a Woj bomb, whatever you want to call it, blockbuster trade. This is massive.
This is a say less bomb.
It was all say less bomb. Yes, we reported on it. Say less bomb. And it was reported early in the day that Harden wanted out of Brooklyn, but he didn't want to formally request a trade because he thought he was afraid of the backlash that he would receive for requesting to get out of an organization in the next. It's only been like a year since that happened with the Rockets, so that's the reasoning behind that. And then that happened. So, gentlemen, what are your thoughts on this trade for the Nets and the Sixers? Do you think it works really well? Do you think, it's gonna, ultimately it's not going to be good because the stuff behind Simmons and Harden in previous years? So, what are your thoughts on this?
I just want to say preemptively before you go, Mohammed, is I think we've said that this trade needed to happen. I think we said for Kyrie, but things changed. That it needed to happen a while ago. The way for the Sixers to get off Ben Simmons was just do a nice swap over there with the Brooklyn Nets. Came to fruition. So I'm not saying that we're speaking things into existence. But
we are.
Too much drama, dude. It's crazy. As for the trade itself, does it work for both teams? Yes, it does. Obviously, Philly got a guard who can shoot, that could play well with Embiid, who's a good playmaker. So they basically replaced Ben Simmons. The only thing they're going to miss is his defense, but I think they'll be fine with the offensive duo that Harden and Embiid are. And they also, they got Paul Millsap. I don't know.
He won't play.
I don't care about Paul Millsap, but for the Nets, getting Ben Simmons, who's a playmaker, I think he can work well with Kyrie. Obviously, they bring in his defense, which they need tremendously. And the fact that they could get Seth Curry, another shooter, is pretty good. And then Drummond was really big in this trade because now they got a guy who could grab boards, who's a big man in the post that actually could, not be a rim protector. He's not known for his defense, but he's just a big body, and he needed that. So the Nets look really good. And for me, it's like, I don't know who's the better team, like who's for sure coming out of the East. Because the Sixers are well built, the Bucks are well built, they're the defending champions. The Nets they kind of haven't solved all their problems, but they patched some holes with this trade. It's just crazy, and that's just a trade. And then the drama that came with it, there's reports saying Kyrie was eager for James Harden to be dealt out. I saw something that Harden was telling the Nets the whole year that, hey, I'm going to re-sign, but he was telling his agents that he wants to leave. KD obviously being pretty upset about it, as we could tell from the draft. It's just wild stuff, dude. And it's wild.
Bro, honestly, Harden is a coward to me. He's a fraud. He's a fraud. I mean, dude, this man just quit. They played 16 games together. 16. They were 13-3. Mm-hmm. That's pretty good. I mean, it's a very small sample size for, a season and a half worth of games. But I don't know, dude. Every show I've watched, they come out, obviously, except for Skip, they come out saying the Sixers clearly won the trade. I disagree. I think the Nets won this trade. And the reason is Harden to me is he's just a fraud in my mind. Jack has implanted it. He's a fraud to me because I kind of agree with what that one columnist said from New York or Brooklyn. He was like, Harden just wanted it to come easy. He didn't want to have to be, do you guys know what tweet I'm referring to? I think I said in the chat.
I know.
Yeah,
I get what you're saying.
he
Yeah.
said he basically just said that Harden wanted it to be easy and didn't want to have to really work for it. And then KD, got hurt. Kyrie's doing what he does. But for the Brooklyn Nets, they are right where they should want to be right now. Bottom of the conference. They have plummeted. They've been terrible.
Currently on
But they don't want to be a top seed. We've talked about this. They don't want to be a top seed to me. And I think this significantly improved their roster, significantly. And the reason for that is Drummond. Drummond is what makes the huge difference on this. Seth Curry is huge too, because Joe Harris looks like he's going to miss the whole year. So if they had Joe Harris too, oh my God, Lord have mercy. But Drummond to me is a big part of this, because as much as I backed Claxton on this show and in our text, he is just he's not being that dude. But Drummond literally is so big that he doesn't even need to be talented. It's like he's just that big. So I would throw him in the starting lineup. I imagine he will start. I hope. That would make sense to me. I don't think it'll happen right away. And given Nash as a coach, I'm not sure it'll happen ever. But but the thing is, they're in perfect position right now, all right? Because KD is going to come back in a couple weeks. They're probably not going to be at the top of the conference. They want to be at the bottom. It's going to be hard probably to lose a ton when you have KD, Harden, and Simmons. Or I'm sorry, Harden. Yeah. Kyrie and Simmons.
half of Kyrie.
Half of Kyrie, exactly. But you're going to start winning more when KD comes back. So you want to be as low as you can possibly be without falling too far out. Simmons significantly. They needed defense at the guard position. They had to have this. Now everybody's like, oh, how are you going to play him at the end of the game? I understand that with the free throws. But as Mohammed, I think you said, maybe you too, Zach, maybe he just needed a change of scenery. It's, it remains to be seen.
I'm a big believer in that.
Yeah. It remains to be seen because he hasn't played this year. So that there's a lot of variables in it, but maybe this change of scenery is going to help him. Like, he's obviously not going to be in the toxic situation. I tried telling you guys that relationship was never going to be repaired.
Yep.
Ever. This man, it could have.
Dude, it's so crazy.
But for the Sixers, Harden's going to be a great piece. I kind of, him and Embiid in the pick and roll will be nasty. I mean, there's no way around.
Dude.
However, I made a financial transaction involving Embiid winning a certain award. I'm afraid that may get tarnished.
Cool.
At this point.
Oh yeah.
Oh right.
Wow.
Now that they have Harden. So that is the part of this trade I don't like. But to make it, long story short, this is a great trade for both sides. To me, the Sixers are in win now mentality. They can never make the conference finals, no matter how good their teams are for some reason. Harden helps them win now. They get off a player who clearly was not going to play for them. The Nets get off a player who was behind the scenes being a drama queen, being passive aggressive. At this point, honestly, with Harden, I don't want him on my team. If I don't want him coming to the Bulls. I don't care how good he is because of how he handles this kind of stuff. To me, it's immature. It's not grown, but
yeah.
Harden's attitude has always been a question for me because I mentioned it last year in the second round when they played in the bubble against the Lakers. They won game one, and Harden post game was like, they asked him like, "What's the difference for you guys between you and the Lakers?" He's like, "Oh, we play with heart and all that stuff." Then they proceeded to lose 4 straight games, and I mentioned it. I don't know if it was during the podcast or to you guys and personally, but his body language, dude, it's like he just doesn't care. And it's like if there's adversity at his face, he seems to give up. And we saw that with the Spurs series when Kawhi got out in 2017, and they literally had nobody. No Tim Duncan, no Kawhi. It was just Ginobili, Parker, and a bunch of other guys, and they still lost. He went like 2 of 14 or something. And it's like
He wouldn't shoot in the fourth.
He just gives up, and it's like his attitude has always been a problem to me. That's why I don't rate him as highly as other people do. But his talent, obviously, nobody could disclaim that. So I'm just saying, if he fails with Embiid, dude, then that's gonna look really bad.
Because he's been,
Question for you.
I was gonna say he's tried with everybody though. This is.
I was gonna bring up, like, how many times has he played with another great player and it's just doesn't seem to work out?
Bro, people give Westbrook crap for that. What about Harden? I mean, Harden's been with just as many superstars. He's been with KD twice. Now, granted, the first time was not his fault for getting out. And here's the other question I want to ask you guys. I'm seeing all over social media this was a failed super team. Do you guys consider it a failed super team? I don't personally. Why?
Things that they couldn't really control was the reason why they led to the downfall. I mean, injuries, and then look, I'm gonna stand with Kyrie. If he believes in that, then go ahead. I know people got in this case about, hey, you should, pay attention to the game of basketball more than that stuff. You have a championship to go for with your teammates. If that was the reason why Harden, the friction.
That was one of the reasons, I think, right?
I believe that's one of the reasons they had the little friction that led to his requesting a trade. But it's just unfortunate, especially last year, the injuries. Harden got injured doing a basketball play. Kyrie got injured doing a basketball play. KD got injured during a basketball play this year. So it's just, it's not something that they couldn't control.
Zach?
Yeah, so I think it is. It's a failed super team. Let's not beat around the bush or anything. It's failed, because when Harden got traded to the Nets, like it's only been a year. It's been barely a year. He was traded last January, and they've only been together 16 games, and it's barely been a year, and he already jumped ship. Like, that is beside itself. And the same thing happened, like Mohammed was saying, when the Rockets, with the lack of effort. It happened in the Rockets. Everyone thought he was gaining weight. He clearly was not trying as hard as he could. And then he got traded to the Nets, and boom, it looked like he had lost like 17 pounds overnight. And his effort came back. And it was the same thing. It was the same thing on this losing streak. They're on an 11-game losing streak now, and you could see it, that his lack of effort was not there. And he did not want to be playing for the Nets. And that's honestly pathetic. From a superstar caliber level player, you don't want to, give it all you just want to jump ship whenever something, bad happens. It's not the way to do it. That's gonna be a problem in Philadelphia, but I don't know. But the point I'm trying to make is that it was a failed super team because it failed to live up to the massive expectations that, perceived it when he got traded. Everyone was saying, all the Harden fans, all the KD fans, all of the Kyrie fans, watch out, scary hours. We're gonna go run the East now. The Nets run the East. They're the biggest team in the East. They're the best team. And then, they got bounced by the Bucks because Kyrie was out, and Harden was injured, he was still playing. But
he came back for the last two games.
And KD was doing his crazy things there, but by himself, because he didn't have any help. But
because the Nets roster is.
Yeah, but even if it's for things that they can't control, I think it still failed, because they clearly we're not all on the same page. Harden was on the same page as Kyrie, KD. I don't know if Kyrie is on the same page with KD now or not. There's been rumors about Kyrie getting traded now too. And there's the whole vaccine mandate. The whole vaccine mandate thing is another thing for another debate too. If you want to debate about if he's really with the team, why doesn't he get the vaccine? That's something personal debate, but I'm not going to debate that. But they were not clearly on the same page, and they should have been, and they could have been. And if they were, I think they would have made a deeper run, and I think they would have stuck together for a longer amount of time. But they didn't, obviously. So I think it's fair.
I agree with you what you just said for this year. Last year, I feel like they were all in. It's just like unfortunate things happen with the injuries. This year, I totally agree with you. I feel like if they were truly all in, they would have all played together, they would all work something out. But like I said, it's just, Kyrie stood 10 toes with his belief, and Harden, eventually, didn't like that, and KD unfortunately got injured. So it's
I
Yeah,
think
but the same thing happened last year too. Like I remember last year, KD got injured and they lost a few games, and it was looking bad. It was the same thing here, but then they got back on track, and they were one of the best teams. And Harden was putting up crazy numbers, and Kyrie was putting up great numbers, and they were like the first seed in the East, I think, last year at around that time, around the same time as now. So, but obviously, maybe because Kyrie isn't as playing half of the games now, Harden was out more. But I think they could have gotten back on track if Harden was playing with Kyrie now. So I think there's something else here with Harden and KD and the big three. I think there's something else between them all now, because last year, they were all in, and they, kind of grouped together when KD got injured, and they kept winning games. So
one thing we talked about
yeah.
multiple times is how Harden's really desperate to get a ring, to I guess have some closure with his career.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that plays into what happened this year, and he just he just gave up.
Yeah.
And it's a bad thing. I'm not defending him in any way, but like we said, like, he's really desperate for a ring. So for him to force his way out of Houston, shameless. The way he did it this year, shameless. But I don't think I think he's just that desperate for a ring.
Clearly, yeah.
I think the beginning of the end was Kyrie. Like, when Kyrie stuck his ground on this vaccine thing, that was it. That was where it all
Yeah,
started.
that definitely was snowball effect started to play in.
And I am I'm an advocator for the vaccine. I don't want to get political. I think you should take it, any vaccine. I don't know why you wouldn't. I know Jack's dad would definitely. You've heard about the shingles thing. This is all over. He's a big advocate for that now. Only reason I say that is because Jack is not an advocate for the vaccine. But
Mm-hmm.
anyways, I digress. But and you have your right to exercise your freedom, but as all of the people in the social media world, the NBA world, were saying, is that it's not about you, it's about the team. And I think Harden, I think there were actually rumors, or at least reports, that he just didn't think Kyrie cared about the team as much. And I think that really rubbed him the wrong way, and it just progressed because KD just kept getting hurt and whatnot. But the reason I don't think this is necessarily a failed super team is twofold. Pretty much what Mohammed said, really no time together. The other reason is you never really get the chance to see what they can accomplish. However, to your point, Zach, you guys watch First Things First ever?
Occasionally.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys know who Kevin Wildes is then?
Yeah.
Most of his takes to me are a joke. But he made a really good point to me on this specific point. And he said that if you listen to what Kyrie, Harden, Marks, their GM, KD were saying, like, when asked about this stuff, they're like, oh, it's not my business. It's not my right. It's not my place to say this stuff. He's like, it was never anybody's business to say something about anything that was going on. It was never their responsibility. He's like, there's no leadership. We've talked about this before. I know Zach has drilled it home with this team about how there was going to be no leadership on the roster. Seems like that was the case. I think it killed them because, God, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Good.
Said I was lagging out. I think it killed them because nobody took a stand. Nobody stepped up to be like, hey, we need to come together and do this. Kevin Durant, I said it, I'm his biggest fan, but he's not a vocal leader. He's as he says, he just wants to play ball. He doesn't want to do the other parts of it. Which makes it kind of strange to me that if Harden has beef with him, if he does, I don't really know why. KD seems like a guy everybody would get along with, but nobody stepped up. I mean, there was no sense of leadership. And I agreed with Kevin Wildes. Like, when he said it, I was like, most of the things you say to me are a joke, but this was right. I mean, they had nobody to just be like, hey, put all this aside. We're here to win a championship. That's what it's about. I mean, it's going to be, to me, this might be a bigger what if than Westbrook, KD, and Harden. It might be.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, only because Harden's more developed at this point. You know, back then he wasn't. And obviously KD is as well. So, I mean, they addressed their issues. They addressed some of those issues, but.
Yeah.
In a situation like this, it's all over the place, obviously. There's different, factors to why they failed, how it went down. So everything will eventually come into light. So maybe in the coming years, we'll see some of them speak up. And not even those guys from Big Three, maybe Steve Nash or some of their teammates might speak up, and, we'll probably see, what the biggest reasons were.
Well, that was the other thing Wiles mentioned was Nash is not a leader as a coach.
Yeah, I was gonna say like Steve Nash, like if they had like a Mark Jackson or something like that, like a really good veteran, coach, probably would have been made a difference, but we never know.
That's fact. That's a great point. Yeah, if they had a Phil Jackson or a Mark Jackson or somebody who can, players coach, really rally the guys together. Not Steve Nash is not doing that, I think. You can see it obvious with the Harden trade this year. Yeah, he needs somebody who can rally the players, and that's not Nash. Nash was that funny moment with Nash. Are you guys trading James Harden? And then Nash was like, no, like the day before.
We're not trading James Harden.
We're not trading him. No.
Gets traded the next day. Crazy.
That's telling right there.
It's crazy.
I wanted to, one more thing I wanted to say. Bring up Will's. Oh, Will left. Damn, that's crazy. He'll probably be back, but piggybacking off of what he said with the leadership. Yeah, I don't know. I think with Simmons and Kyrie and now KD, I think they need a vocal leader. So I don't know if I don't know who's going to lead these guys if they get into some trouble in the playoffs or in the future, we just talked about Nash. Like Nash isn't going to say anything, so I think this issue could arise in the future as well because they don't have someone who will come out and say it.
I mean, they could all learn from this.
That's true.
Like you said, how last year, how when KD went down, Kyrie and Harden stepped up and they said, okay, we're going to have to, up the game, go to the next level. Maybe I saw that Simmons had a phone call with KD and basically said, hey, thanks for believing in me. Thanks for accepting me into your team. So maybe that's going to be a big factor into why they Will's back. You good, Will?
I don't know, bro. I want to make one last point. No,
classic connectivity issues. Mohammed, finish your point first, though, Mohammed.
Oh shoot, my bad.
I was just saying, like Zach was saying, like someone's got to step up. I was gonna say, like they can all learn from this. They should all learn from this. KD now more than ever should become that vocal leader to help the team, and obviously Ben Simmons not having the beef with Sixers, not coming over the Nets, and how I was saying that the reports were saying that he called KD, basically thanked them for like accepting him to the team, believing in him. So maybe they could all come together based off of that. They just had. I feel like KD probably got betrayed. Feels like he got betrayed by Harden. Ben Simmons
based on his All-Star draft.
Right. So maybe this whole experience can make them come together, and maybe they could make a good run. So
okay. So again, to what Kevin Wilds was saying, because I wanted to still bring up one more thing he said. On pretty much basically what you said, like he's just going to be unbelievably motivated, or he should be. He should be. Yeah. But the other thing he said is that I was talking about Nash was when Kyrie said we don't really need a coach or we don't have a coach, we don't, whatever. He said, and I agree with this wholeheartedly. Nash should have immediately right there said no. I'm the coach. You listen to me. I'm in charge. But he never did. And then you immediately, right off the bat, you lose your credibility immediately. And that you can't get that back. Once that's happened, it's like respect. Once you lose it, it's really hard to get back, which it is respect. They to your point, like into what we were saying, it's just like they had nobody to just kind of put them in line. And so to that extent, I could see people saying it's a failed super team. Now, I would have just liked to seen at least 50 games, at least a playoff run together, just to see what could happen. because that would have been interesting. Then I would have definitely been like, hey, oh, you didn't make it, and then Harden quits the next year, and you were healthy, the previous year. Okay, yeah, you failed. This is unbelievable. But I think the part of the issue was you put three emotional divas together, and it doesn't work. And I'm not sure they replaced Harden with somebody who is more emotionally or less emotionally diva-ish than, yeah, exactly. So it could be the same kind of thing moving forward, but nevertheless,
In terms of storylines, this is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Oh, this is a question I wanted to ask you guys. Because you guys have advocated for the Sixers before many years in the past. I personally don't believe in them ever, but I just don't. I'm sorry.
Okay.
But question for you. And if they make the conference finals this year, I'll be on board, okay? Just make the conference finals at least. But question, would you guys have rather they got James Harden or Dame? Let's just say in a vacuum.
Dame.
If you could,
Dame.
right? Dame.
Yeah,
I'd agree.
Dame.
Without question, right?
I think Dame brings the same thing that Harden brings. Maybe Harden's a better passer, but I feel like Dame, in terms of commitment, I think that's the biggest difference.
I was gonna say right up here. That's the part that makes me want Dame.
Dame's strong up here for sure.
Right.
Harden gonna have a 5-game stretch where they start losing and end up in the Philly clubs. Did you see the?
I've seen. I was gonna say I saw a meme. There was a lot of memes with the Harden stuff, and they were like, James,
Welcome to Philly with open arms. Wait, never mind, open legs.
yeah, I saw that.
No, yeah, that was a strip club, right?
Yeah.
Bro, they're about to go on a 5-game losing streak,
arms.
and the next game, James Harden's gonna come back like 10 pounds heavier, and they're gonna be with what? He's like, I want to trade. I need to go to the Lakers. I
think Mohammed sent some. Yeah, you sent some memes where it's
bro,
like James, we're down 20.
By 20.
I just ate 4
I just ate 40 cheesesteaks.
Let's go.
You gotta show those.
Yeah, I'll show those. Yeah, or the Simmons. Yeah,
and then the Simmons was like, "Let's go! I just got a 20 kills."
Yo,
I don't know the Dame one. It's all jokes, but the Dame was like, "Oh, Dame, we're down by 20," and he's like, "Let's go!" I didn't run from the grind.
Yeah, I saw that one too. I saw the one. I saw the one with James, and it was like, James, it's okay. We just lost a few games. It's just not enough talent, man. Just not enough talent.
Is that the LeBron one?
No, that was James too. That was Harden.
James Harden.
Yeah,
I could see that one being for LeBron.
too.
What would Brody's be? Brody's would be like some with turnovers, maybe. I didn't turn the ball over.
Westbrook's is like with I seen Westbrook ones. This is triple double basically.
Oh, I got my triple double.
It was OKC. It was like Paul George and all those other guys.
Oh yeah.
Like, let's go.
Oh yeah, on the OKC days, yeah. This year, I would say it'd be like turnovers or shooting.
Yeah, it'd be like Westbrook. We're down 35. Let's go. I just got my 10th rebound.
And just got Steven Adams just moved out of the way on a missed free throw. Yeah, let's go.
Oh, that's classic. Yeah, we're getting up there. Final predictions. We're like an hour almost right now. So
yikes.
But real quick, final predictions now, because this is shaking up things in the East a lot. It's gonna be really interesting to see who comes out of the East now. Predictions. You got any predictions for the East now with the new Nets and the new Sixers, or in the Bulls? You got the Bulls in there too. The Celtics are getting hot now too. There's the Heat. The Heat are the 1 seed now as well. But there's always the Bucks, the repeating champions. So predictions.
I have to look back up on our earlier tape from beginning of the season to see my predictions, because they might be way off right now. So I'm gonna start by saying this: I have no shame to what's gonna happen in the future. I have no shame in being wrong, because what's transpired this year has been way off the
grid. So, facts. Yes.
Yeah, so it's just like I have no shame with in being wrong.
For real.
I don't know who I predicted to make it out. Honestly, I have no clue. I can't remember.
I
might have said
one, to be honest. It could be anybody from the East and West. I still believe the Lakers are going to turn up some point this year.
I do too. I'm not giving up on the Lakers till if the Lakers get in the playoffs, like to me, they should whatever. But I definitely don't think I said the Bulls because I think at best I said they'd be a second round exit. But I don't know. The Sixers, I would love to see the Sixers do something, man. They've had too many good teams to not make at least the conference finals. And Embiid is godly this year. I mean, unfreaking believable. As far as I'm concerned, the MVP should be in the bag already. I mean, unless he falls off a cliff, he should win MVP to me, even with Harden there. But narratives, so
yeah, narratives gonna be interesting. see what the MVP is gonna be about this year after this trade deadline.
That's facts. Yeah, that's gonna be interesting.
It's hard to say anything about the Nets or the Sixers until we get at least a week under our belt just to see what it looks like. Because Simmons hasn't even played. Yeah, exactly. Simmons hasn't even played this year, so I don't know what he's gonna be like.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
What if Simmons is like? What if it's like the change of scenery is gonna be so good to him that he actually starts taking jump shots and making?
I was gonna say, what if he starts pulling up from 30?
That would be wild. That would be wild. That'd be a narrative right there.
The 76er, the Nets Sixers game and Philly. I think it's in March.
I was gonna bring that up.
Yeah.
If Ben Simmons plays that, that's gonna be wild.
That's gonna be, dude. He's just getting absolutely ridiculed in Philly. I really don't know why. I understand maybe he played bad, but like, I don't know. I think people have trouble putting themselves in their other people's shoes and realizing that NBA athletes are still people. They're not immune to
slander. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not robots just programmed to go out there and dribble and shoot.
Yeah, that's the one that as weird as it is with KD. That's a part of him I like. Is he's totally open and fine with exposing that. And
yeah, on Twitter,
I love that, man.
Yeah, I mean, respect. It's nice to remind people, hey, I'm a human being. I still have emotions. Yeah. But I don't know. I kind of like the Heat. I think I said the Heat beginning of the year. Nice. I don't know.
Yeah. Currently, the Nets are on a 11-game losing streak in the 8th seed. And the Lakers are in the 9th seed right now and on a 3-game losing streak as well. So you never know, because at the beginning of the season, the Nets and the Lakers were the title favorites, and now everything's shaking up.
Dude, the Nets are still overwhelming title favorites somehow.
Yeah, I don't understand them as like plus 300 odds or something.
What the hell?
I don't understand. I don't understand at all. Maybe it would be funny to watch those odds decrease as they move up the Eastern Conference. They get to the first seed and they're no longer the favorites anymore. Well, Kyrie ain't gonna play all the games, so But I have heard news that the mandate is going to be lifted in New York. I've heard that they're talking about that, so that would change everything.
That would shake up. That's crazy.
If that happens, I think the Nets deserve to be favorites, assuming that Ben Simmons, doesn't look like a Y-ball kid talking about his 130-point game or whatever. Wasn't making any references there.
That's Yikes. A good one. That's a good thought to wrap it up. Yep. A lot of shakeups happening right now in the NBA and trade deadline and everything. So appreciate you guys. Another episode in the books. Super Bowl Sunday. Joe Burrow, Joe Shiesty.
Oh, Joey B.
Rams versus the Bengals. So that'll be interesting too. Just on football, on a sports thing. So
it might be a blowout.
Yep. But
we'll just admit it.
No, I'm holding out faith, man. I'm holding out faith.
O-line D-line matchup is
the O-line D-line matchup. It might be the worst matchup I've ever seen, bro.
Oh my goodness,
bro. Joe Burrow literally might die. He might get killed. He might get hit so much that his head just.
He's leaving the game in a stretcher for sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's probably going to the hospital. Yes, if he leaves the game, he's going to the hospital.
They might as well make his hospital bed right now.
Yep. All right.
Yeah.
YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, you know the drill. See you on the next episode. Peace.